France and Germany are going to apply to TikTok and YouTube bloggers to fight Kremlin propaganda. The countries have prepared a joint non-official document, Bloomberg reports. According to the authors, the distribution of Russian language content for Russians who live outside the country should reduce the influence of propaganda. EU countries were also offered to fund media literacy courses in Russian. Bloggers on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Telegram and Vkontakte could share them, according to the plan of Germany and France.
France and Germany state the EU should continue to explore creative ways to allow independent information to spread within Russia. Germany and France want the European Union to drive a wedge between President Vladimir Putin and the Russian people with a campaign to counter propaganda. From Bloomberg publication.
The document was circulated to EU member states ahead of the gathering of foreign ministers in Prague. On August 30th and 31st, the EU relationship with Russia in the context of the war was discussed, as well as support for Ukraine and the impact of the war on the whole world.
At that moment, there was no engagement, as you could perfectly understand. But we have to think about the future. The future, the relationship with Putin's Russia will be very difficult.
The Russians were outraged by the appeal of France and Germany. Piotr Kolchin, Russian analyst, said that the document has nothing to do with the protection of the EU information space, but is only of an aggressive nature. His words were replicated by the propaganda media. The European Union is trying to form a system through which information materials of an anti-government and anti-Russian orientation will be distributed through actors of information influence, bloggers in social networks. They believe that if they manage to, as they call it, collapse the regime and bring pro-Western forces in Russia to power, then this will allow Russia to be torn apart according to the decolonization plan they have already written. Piotr Kolchin, analyst of the Russian Center for Expert Support of Political Processes. The fight on the information front is an integral part of Ukraine's future victory, experts say, but given to extend the Kremlin's propaganda, media literacy courses may not be enough.
We are not talking about ordinary media literacy at all, because a person who is confident in something, who has some beliefs formed over 20-30 years of Russian propaganda during the period of Putin's tenure, these beliefs cannot be broken through by any stories about media literacy. Because media literacy is about voluntary perception of information, and here we are talking about people who think and want the Russian authorities to kill us.
Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine has affected the extent of propaganda and the severity of censorship in Russia. More than 7,000 websites and links were blocked in the aggressor country in 6 months, Roskomsvoboda public organization reports.
The censorship has become much stricter. In fact, the dictatorship in Russia is gaining momentum. If a person does not use the terminology that the Kremlin came up with to refer to the war in Ukraine, an operation and something else, then a person can end up behind bars in one word. To some extent, the Russians themselves are to blame for the situation in their country, because they did not oppose it in any way. They put up with it for many years.
In 2022, in the Press Freedom Rating, compiled annually by the international organizations Reporters Without Borders, Russia ranked 155th out of 180 countries. This is 5 positions lower than last year. Afghanistan comes next after Russia in the ranking of press freedom. Reported by Roman Smolar, Valeria Nikipelova, UATV News.